Hello Matt, and welcome to your Defender instructional video guide. So here we are, sat in the cab of your new Defender. Nice wooden steering wheel, lots of flashy bits of trim. So the purpose of this video today is I'm going to take you through all the controls on your vehicles, take her for a little spin, show you how everything works, show you how she drives, and just generally show you how to live with her and care for her. So anyway, without further ado, sorry, I'll just turn that light back on. We'll start off with the cold starting procedure. So today's a particularly cold day. And with this big carburetor, you don't need to give it too much choke, just a little bit on the pedal. So what you want to do is put the ignition on, make sure the choke's right in, give it a couple of pedal depressions, turn the key, and she'll fire right up. Now once it has started, you are going to need to use the choke a little bit, just to raise the engine revs. There we go. And after we've been driving it for about 2 minutes, the temperature will be just enough that you can get rid of the choke then. Take some microscopic adjustment. There we go. Alright, so anyway, let's head on out. So as you can see, the engine's still a little bit spluttery just where it's cold and it's just needing to get warmed up. Good old school carburetor. Coming out of here. Right, away we go. It's not the nicest day today, typical England for you. It's actually the first opportunity I've had to drive this, so let's see how we get on. So far so good. So now we're driving, you can back that choke off because you won't need it now. Gear change is nice and smooth. Drive straight and true. Wipers work well. So at the moment, your truck overall has covered 447 miles. In terms of the engine, because it's been fully rebuilt, it's going to want about another 1,000 miles to fully bed it in, let everything set in place, and then you can really sort of open up the taps on it. But for the meantime, for the next 1,000 miles, just nice gentle driving as I'm doing now. Don't over rev it too heavily. And like I say, once that 1,000 miles has been covered, you can really give it some welly. Brakes are good, downshift is solid. Corners nicely. Okay, so now we're back and the engine's warm. We'll run through a hot start, slightly different from a cold. So same principle, put the ignition on, no choke, and she'll fire straight up. Now sometimes you might need to give it one pedal or so if it's been sat for 5-10 minutes. So again, ignition on, one pedal depression. There you go, she'll fire straight up. No choke required. If you need help with starting, you ever have a problem, please do give us a call. We'll be happy to talk you through it. But typically it will start pretty much straight away, just provided that you don't give it too much fuel and flood the carburetor. If it's a really cold day, you'll want a tiny little bit of choke and a little bit of feathering on the throttle. Okay, that's that. So moving on to the next area of the dash, we've got here your main heater control. So pull that lever right to the bottom, push your heaters on the top speed. There's only 2 speeds on this, so the lower speed is just 1 click up, like so. And then all the way at the top shuts the ram air so you don't get a draft coming into the cab. Here you've got a vent handle for your front bulkhead flap. So that works by pulling it out to the right, pushing it all the way to the bottom, and then clicking it into the left to lock it in place. And then to close it, just do the reverse, pull it out to the right, lift it all the way to the top and click it into the left so it's nice and secure. Make sure you pull it all the way to the top and lock it in so you don't get a draft. Here you've got your front windscreen wash controls, so push it in for a squirt, pull it down for 1 wipe like so, up for your first speed, up again for your top speed, and this is your fog light switch. This will only work in unison with your low beam. So if I put your low beam on, which we'll get to in a minute, put the fog light on, you see the light illuminates here on the dash, and then flick that switch off to remove the fog light like so. Okay, so moving on to the center of your dash, you've got your rear wash here for your rear door. So hold that in for a squirt to the rear screen. You can hear the motor going. That'll take a couple of seconds to get to the back. Twist it to the right, and that puts the wiper on until you switch it off again. 12-volt power point here. Got your clock up here, so you adjust the time by pushing in that center button and then twisting it left or right. Here you've got your Apple CarPlay. Your connection cable is over here. So you plug your iPhone directly into this cable, and then basically this emulates your phone onto the system. I won't talk you through it now, but what I do advise you do is take a good read of this manual here. This tells you how to use every feature on there, but I'm sure you'll get used to it. If you do need any help with that stereo, please do let us know and we'll happily talk you through it. So here you've got some spare touch-in paint, spare fuses inside that box there, and spare light bulbs, and your spare keys. Inside here you've also got your boost controller, so you can modify your sub settings, which is on the back of this cubby box here. Now this is a locking cubby box, so sorry, just switch that light back on. Here's the last one of your keys that we haven't covered. So pop that in like so, turn it clockwise 90 degrees, and that locks your cubby box. Just unlock that again for you. There we go. On the front of your cubby box here, you've got 3 switches. So this center switch controls your floor lighting. This one here is for your passenger heated seat. So in the central position, that's off. Press it to the bottom, that's your low setting, and then click it to the top, and that's your high setting. Okay, next lot of switches to run through, just move the keys there. This is your main light stalk, so you've got side light switch there, dip beam. Push this stalk forward for your main beam, flick it back for flash, left indicate, right indicate, and your horn. 3 more switches down here. This switch is for your interior roof lights, hazard warning lights, and rear heated windscreen. Now when that's activated, this light will illuminate. 1 more switch underneath here. This is for your roof rack spotlight, so this is an isolator switch. So your roof rack spotlights work on your main beam, and then this one switches them on and off. So on and off. 2 more heater controls this side. This one controls your temperature. So at the bottom you've got hot, all the way up to top, which is cold, and then this lever controls directions. You've got windscreen demist, and then it sends the air to the floor like so, and in the middle you get a bit of both. Down here you've got your air conditioning controls. So this one here is fan speed, 1, 2, 3, and this one here is your temperature, like so. Moving on to your doors. Important areas to keep greased on these doors is your check strap up in here. There's a channel in which you can put some copper grease, as you can see there on my finger. So keep that well protected with some copper grease. Along the bottom of your door here, now your door's already filled with cavity wax, and there are a lot of water drain holes at the bottom here. So it's good practice every couple of weeks just to get a bit of cavity wax up in there, just to keep it topped up, just to keep the rust at bay. And then another area here is your door catch. So again, a couple of squirts of spray grease, work it back and forward just to get it in there. Because typically if these become dry and they're not greased, then you'll get this kind of bouncing effect and it can be a bit of a pain. So just keep that well greased too. Now in terms of locking, you can lock this door without the key by holding in the exterior button and then pushing down this pin like so, closing the door. Now it's locked. This here is your door key for your side entry doors. Unlocks like so. Again, good area, good practice to get some WD-40 or grease in there every now and then, just so that the locks remain supple. Sometimes they can get a little bit tight, so you can imagine with a small key like that, it's quite hard to turn. So again, keep this well greased. You shouldn't have any problems. Okay, moving on to your seats. Excuse me. You've got two controls here. So you've got a lever at the front, which allows you to slide the seat back and forward like so. And you've also got a recliner handle on the side here. So lift that up and then you can tilt the seat back itself. And then once you've got it in place, just push it down firmly and make sure it locks back into place. Now another important area to keep greased are these rails. So again, get some WD-40 or spray grease with a straw on it, down each rail, just to again allow them to move freely. Now to remove your seat base, probably want some white cotton gloves on for these. Sorry. Pull the seat up firmly at the front so these pins pop out like so. Gently lift the seat forward. Just remember that you've got your heated seat wiring there. So pop that plug apart. Now I can safely stow this away. Okay, so you've got your battery tray here, so slide that out. Then here you've got your battery, and you've also got some auxiliary fuses down here for things like your heated seats and your floor lights. So slide that tray back in like so, give it a good tap, put the hook on, just grab your seat base again. So reverse of what we did just now. Reconnect your heated seat wiring. You've got two locating pins at the back here, which slot into the seat back. Takes a little bit of a wiggle, but once they're in, you'll know because this pin's aligned, and same on the other side. And then just push the front of the seat down like so. Okay, so moving on to the second row. These seats have a fixed frame, so you can't move them back or forward, but you do have one control, which is your seat back, similar to the front. Lift that up, you can tilt the back and forward like so. Headrests are removable, there's a button either side, which you can see there, so push those buttons in and push it up. It can be a little bit awkward, especially when they're new. Slide it out like so, and then that allows that seat to fold flat, so if you wanted to, you could fold all three seats flat, then have a bit of extra storage area. And then just give that a wiggle to get it back in like so. Make sure it's firmly secured. Now one thing I didn't mention on the front doors is when you close the doors, always keep your hand firmly on the handle. Because what will tend to happen is if you don't, it won't shut properly. Just because of the way it's designed with the seals and the robustness of the whole system, just give it a good firm slam like so. You've also got a child lock here. So in the up position, that's unlocked. And if you pop that down, like so, locked, so they won't be able to open the door from the inside. Okay, so moving on to your TD5 load area door, here's your load area key. Quite simply locked like so, anti-clockwise. Again, same as the side entry doors, give this a good slam, and it will always lock like so. Moving inside, you've got your 2 bench seats, 2 lap belts for each seat. You can stow these away like so by lifting up the bench, and then this hook reaches over the seat and clips onto the seat back. You can also remove these cushions, they're tied in at each corner. So again, if you want a little bit more storage space, that frame can fold right up out of the way. This here is your fuel cap key. Pop the key in, turn it 180 degrees anti-clockwise, undo the cap. The key needs to remain inside the cap while it's unlocked. You can see that little pin that comes out, that's how it locks. Fill her up with fuel, pop the key cap back on, turn it clockwise until it clicks. Turn the key clockwise and then remove. This is a venting fuel cap, so if you fill it right to the brim, you are going to get fuel that spills out, and you are going to get a strong smell of fuel. Even in the cab when you're driving or parked up, this is likely to be where the fuel smell is emanating from. So what you'll need to do is get to know this fuel tank. It's 70 litre capacity, so try not to fill it over 70 litres, because if you fill it all the way into the neck, like I say, you're going to get fuel splashing out of this venting fuel cap, and also a strong fuel smell. Okay, so down here you've got your bonnet release cable. Pop that towards you like so, and that'll pop the bonnet. Okay, so when you come to lift the bonnet, you've got a safety hook on this right hand side here, which you'll just need to move out of the way of the catch. Lift it up like so, lock your scissor lift in place. Here's your Rover 3.5 V8 engine, lovely machine, rebuilt from the ground up by the guys in the workshop. Really beautiful to look at, functional, drives well as you've just seen, all new components. So I'm just going to run through a few fill points and talk about a bit of service interval, but most of the information you need for that will be in your Haynes manual and your owner's manual. So refer to that for technical data and recommended service intervals. We'll start with some fill points. I'll just grab a cloth. So here you've got your engine oil fill point. Just twist that off like so. And that's where you put your oil in for your engine. 10W40 mineral grade oil. Never use semi or fully synthetic, only mineral oil. And again, it will advise you of such in the Haynes manual. Make sure that's nice and secure. Power steering reservoir here. Now this takes ATF fluid, automatic transmission fluid, which is also known as Dextron, which you can pick up from any parts store in the US. It's red in colour, and to measure the level, we'll just get that cap back in flat, lift it out, and you've got 2 indicators here. Now this is a little bit low, and we'll top that up as part of our checks before it leaves. So you want the fluid to be in between these 2 marks here. I'd say every couple of weeks or so, just give it a quick check around all your levels, make sure they're up to where they should be. Expansion tank for your cooling system. This is purely an expansion tank, so you shouldn't expect to see any water in here other than a little bit of overfill. All the coolant is kept within the system, and this is purely for when it gets hot, allows some of the fluid to expand into this chamber. Never open this when it's hot, because it will be under pressure and it will spray boiling hot water out everywhere. So only ever check this when it's cold, but like I say, this isn't a normal header tank like you find on a car. This is purely an expansion tank. Reservoir for your front and rear wash systems. As you can see, it's nice and full. Not much really to say about this other than make sure the cap is nice and secured. Moving around to your engine oil dipstick, we'll lift that out, give it a wipe. So on here you can see you've got 2 markings, low and high. Anywhere in between those 2 points is fine. Pop it back in like so, push it all the way to the bottom. Pull it back out. And you can see that your oil level is just on the high mark there, which is perfect. Okay, let's push that all the way in, make sure it's nice and secure. Next up, brake fluid reservoir. Again, this is a sealed unit, so you don't really need to worry about fluid, but just check it as part of the routine. The fill levels are indicated on the exterior of the casing, so your max level is basically this seam around here. This is a visual inspection from the exterior. This is .4 brake fluid, which again is common fluid, and you'll easily be able to source it from your local parts store. Then back here you've got your clutch fluid, which is also the same .4 brake fluid, brake and clutch fluid. Now this is an inspection from the inside, and as you can see it's a little tricky to get to, but there we go. So So wind that cap off like so. And in here, you've got a small nib at the front of the casing there, which you can see, and the fluid is just at the top of that nib, and that's where it wants to be. Don't need to over tighten any of these caps, just a nice hand tight will do fine. And then that allows for ease of removal next time round. Okay, so service interval on this engine is every 6,000 miles or a year. So if you only cover 4,000 miles, get it serviced every year. Like I say, refer to your Haynes manual, have a good look through that. There may be some jobs that you can even take on yourself or perhaps service it yourself. But all the information you need is in your Haynes manual and owner's manual. But like I say, if you need any help from us, please do get in touch and we'll be happy to talk you through it. Okay, so when you come to close the bonnet, make sure that safety hook clears that hole there like so. Lower it down into place. Because this bonnet is aluminium and it's quite thin, you never want to close it in the center because you'll end up leaving a big dent. So use your palms or your forearms on either side of the bonnet and give it a good push down. Just make sure it's nice and secure. Alright, so that's it, Matt. Thanks for watching. I hope this video was helpful and informative. She's a really great machine, great to drive as you just saw. We've all had a lot of fun building it for you. The interior is beautiful, steering wheel's great, nice finishing touch. If you have any further questions or need any further advice, please do let us know. But she's about to head on her way to you now, a couple of weeks, and you'll be driving her around. So thanks for working with us, Matt, and thanks for choosing to build your Defender with us. And we hope that you enjoy it for many years. Thank you.